Jack Della Maddalena, he is going to be fighting at UFC 322 against Islam Makhachev for the welterweight title. He is the current champion. Islam is coming up to 170 to try to take away the welterweight championship. But JDM is not trying to have any of that. Okay, so I present to you some keys to victory for Jack Della Maddalena at UFC 322. Wake up, Islam. Your time is now. Let's go, JDM. Let's see what he needs to do in order to seal a win. And key number one, and this is in no specific order, it's takedown defense. I think we all saw this coming. I think when you just think about JDM, he's more so a boxer than anything in the UFC at least. And when you're facing Islam Makhachev, you always have to worry about the wrestling. The inevitable is his wrestling and his grappling, especially up against the cage. I think it's extremely important that JDM takes this very seriously. If JDM, for me, right, if I'm JDM, I'm always trying to circle. I'm not trying to get put in positions where I can even initiate a takedown for Islam, right, which is up against the cage, right? I think Islam, when he gets you up against the cage, he can work, he can move, he can run the pipe, go down, he can work the clinch. He has good knees, good shots from the clinch, and he's able to try and get your back from there, just kind of similar to Bilal Muhammad in a sense, but obviously Islam is way more effective at getting his wrestling off, in my opinion. But I think JDM, this is the main focus because we know he has the striking. We know he has the kicks. We know that he can put combinations together like no one else can. But can he defend a takedown? And he's shown in his career that he can defend a takedown, but you are going up against Islam Makhachev. This is a different story. This is a different case. This is a different book that you're even reading. So I think this is very important for him. If I'm JDM, I'm cramming this home, and I think he has, and I believe he can be able to stifle Islam's wrestling in certain moments. Obviously, Islam's going to get his because he's such a great fighter. But I think JDM can, if he prepares right, which he has Volk in his corner, he had Craig Jones in his corner as well. So these are two guys, one who fought Makhachev a couple years ago, and a person who is really good at jiu-jitsu and kind of dealing with this Dagestan wrestling kind of style, right? Trying to get your underhooks, right? 2-on-1s, right? And always working, always trying to scramble, trying to hit the switch, right? So I think that takedown defense is going to be very pivotal for JDM going into a fight with Islam Makhachev. And two, we have the boxing. Obviously, this is a key for him. This will always be a key for JDM. You could just see on the screen, right, Bilal Muhammad getting a high kick, body shots, head shots. And these are all, I don't think these are from the same stance. I don't think they're from the same stance. No, the high kicks from southpaw, the liver shot is from orthodox, and the liver shot is from orthodox as well. And the head shot, excuse me. But JDM, right, even though he has the punches to the body, the kicks to body, legs, head, he does have decent leg kicks, and he always throws it out there as a feeler, throws a nice teep kick from both stances off the front and rear leg as a nice little feeler, right, to break that void, to really give Islam something to worry about in this fight. But I love his stance switches. He's not just an orthodox fighter. He is not just a southpaw fighter. He can fight from both stances and fight really effectively. And I don't believe Islam has fought a guy who really switches his stances. At least at, the pivotal height of his career. I don't think he's really fought a guy who can move like JDM can move, especially in the pocket with his striking defense. And just the combinations coming back at you. I think Islam has to be very weary of, all the shots coming back at him. Right? And especially if he wants to trade on the fee and he wants to get some respect, he's going to have to be mindful of how JDM is coming at him when he wants to strike, right? Is he doing it from southpaw? What weapons is he going to use from this position? But JDM switches a decent bit to where if he throws something or he takes a shot, right? Let's say he takes a right hand and a left hook from Bilal, right? However he rolls with the shot is the stance that he's going to be in. So if he ends up in orthodox, he ends up in orthodox, and then he has weapons from there, right? If he ends up in southpaw, right, he ends up in southpaw. I think that, at least for Islam, he needs to be able to kind of dictate how he wants JDM to stand and how he wants his stance to be in order for him to get his shots off. But I think JDM is going to do a decent job, or he has to do a decent job, at maintaining those stance switches. One, because it keeps your legs fresh. You're not really getting leg kicked too hard. And two, it just gives the other opponent to really something to worry about, right? And also it helps with takedown defense, because now some guys aren't really good at shooting when a guy's in southpaw, when a guy's in orthodox. So we'll see how it truly affects the wrestling in this aspect from Islam Makhachev. I think it has a decent chance of affecting it. That's why it's a key. So we'll see how JDM is going to approach this. And I think that, especially with his boxing, man, he's so crisp. He's on time. He never throws anything too crazy. Kind of, what do you call it? He never throws over himself. He's always in rhythm, always with good timing, good pace, and good foundation to his punches, right? It all kind of goes as one motion, bow, 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 and he kind of whips it, and he cracks really hard. He may not have, all the KOs in the world, but he can crack. He could get body shots, and he's really good at sneaking those punches in. I think those body shots are going to be very key, especially because it gives you kind of a natural underhook, right? So these are all the keys, especially for the boxing and the hands department for JDM, that he needs to really implement in order to get his game off. And number 3, the last key, don't get backed up, right? I need JDM, at least in this fight, if he's going to win, he needs to be able to put the pressure on Islam Makhachev. He needs to be able to get Islam on the back foot, because then the wrestling becomes harder when you're on the back foot. It becomes very easy to shoot at somebody's legs when you're constantly going forward. But when the other guy's constantly coming at you and you're going backwards, it's a little bit trickier to get the timing down, because now you're more so on the defensive. You're not as much on the offensive, right? So maybe Islam could lull JDM into that false sense of security and then try to get the clinch and then, push him up against the cage, right? Run the pipe, right? Grab a single leg, shoot it, go for a double, get his hands around his waist, right? Try to get a body lock, potentially take his back from there. All those things. So I think if JDM doesn't back up, I think he has a real good shot at winning this fight, because you have to be able to pressure the wrestler, right? You have to be able to throw things to get the wrestler's timing, kind of off, right? You don't want Islam to dictate the pace. You want to be able to dictate what's going to happen and how these exchanges are going to go. And that's kind of what it means, right? Right? In the Bilal Muhammad fight, he was really circling really well to where he wasn't up against the cage too much in that fight. He kind of stayed in the center. And I don't mean like, right in the middle. I mean like within, because there's 2 lines. There's the cage and then there's black lines around it in the octagon shape. He stayed mostly within that frame, which I think is a good, film study. Watching that Bilal Muhammad fight back, is that he is cognizant of where he is in the octagon, and I think that's very important when you're facing guys who can wrestle and want to grapple you and who don't really want to stand on the feet with you, even though Bilal Muhammad did. Crazy. So he's always cognizant of that. He's aware of that, and I think he's going to have to be aware of if he's getting backed up or pressured in a fight, because once he gives Islam a moment to kind of see him up against the cage and try to take the advantage of that, then it obviously could wear out his cardio. He may not be as sharp, may not be as quick, because he's doing so much wrestling, because he got backed up, right? He backed up against the cage, and now, boom, he's at a disadvantage. So if Islam does all 3 of these things, at least in these keys, I think he has a real good shot with the takedown defense, the combinations, the stance switches, the punches to the body. I think should be really effective as well for him. And don't getting backed up, basically pressuring or putting the pressure on Islam to try to make something happen within the wrestling, to where now JDM feels a bit more comfortable putting his hands on him. And that's all the keys. Thank you guys for watching. And shout out to JDM. He's going to fight Islam. I think JDM has a decent chance of winning. You'll see my predictions for this fight in the next couple days, probably on Thursday night. And yeah, shout out to JDM. I'm going to be there at UFC 322. So that's going to be really fun. Is it 322? Is it 323? Don't tell me I've been saying it wrong this whole time. Hold on now. No, it's 322. Phew. All right, we got it right. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. And as always, take it easy. I'm going to be live. I'm going live after this video. So if you're watching this video, there will probably be a live stream up that you can watch. So thank you guys for watching. And as always, take it easy. Peace.